Could HBO Max remake Game of Thrones Season 8? Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and no, I don't think it's happening. Sorry if I clickbaited you a little bit, but no, come on, this is ridiculous. Now, look, anything's possible, as Zack Snyder has proven to us. And yes, Game of Thrones did cryptically tweet out winter is coming, but it was clearly connected to the fact that HBO Max is now streaming all of Game of Thrones and trying to get people to come rewatch the show if they haven't already on HBO Max as sort of one of the clear IPs they own. But no, I mean, a lot of people are out there trying to speculate that this tweet, for you guys' sake, this better be a tease for a remake of Season 8. Otherwise, you might not get the excitement you're looking for. Folks are thinking this might mean a remake of the final season, but I think it's actually a hint that the next book will be out this year. I doubt that either. George R.R. Martin's already working on spin-offs and everything else. He still doesn't want to get the 2 books done that he owes us. Ooh, Game of Thrones remake of Season 8. Game of Thrones was trending all of this today, this afternoon, last night, I guess. HBO remade Justice League. They can 1,000 remake Game of Thrones. And so, look, while the desire is there, does this mean you finally agreed to remake the last season? Sure hope this is a remake. Wait, there's still people pushing for a remake of Season 8? Seriously? Move on, people. It's divided, right? But I think more often than not, people are wish they could redo this ending. Why would they remake Season 8? Just like the announcement for the collector's box or something that don't kid yourself. Most of these guys who hate on Season 8 will buy it anyway. I won't. Season 8 totally did kill it. I really do firmly believe Season 8 killed the legacy of Game of Thrones. Now, is that fair? No. I don't think it was fair. I think the show had a lot of good, and people are being unfair in that regard, I do think. But it just ended so poorly. It was rushed. They rushed through it and sort of gave it an unsatisfying ending that apparently that's what George R.R. Martin wanted. But you could sort of tell the creators themselves were sort of just excited to be over with it so they could move on to the next thing, and still have yet to really come forward. They had a couple other shows announced that have all fallen through and then signed a huge deal with Netflix. Who knows if they're as good as they seem to have been from Game of Thrones. That's the real reality. It just doesn't feel like they knew how to close this ending. But that's the big question I wanted to ask you, and we're going to talk about it tonight live at 9 as well, and bring in some people to take some of your calls, your comments. If you've never caught a live show, make sure you catch the live show. In fact, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell for all alerts. That way you're notified when we go live every Tuesday, Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But what I wanted to get at is the show really ruined because of Season 8? It's kind of a debate I've been really going through as I look through all these tweets. Have you guys known that Steakums is really aggressive on Twitter? It's pretty amazing. They went after Neil deGrasse Tyson as well, but they're getting in the mix. Season 8 remake. When are you guys finally remaking Season 8? Season 8, they gave Snyder $70 million to fix Justice League. Fix Season 8. You could probably do it for 3 episodes. I don't think so. I'll share you my thoughts on that in a second, but just so we're seeing people wanting HBO to do a redo of Season 8 of Game of Thrones. Let the past die. Kill it if you have to. Season 8 is trending. Game of Thrones. Don't talk to me about that. I don't want to hear about it. A lot of people clearly hoping they would do this. Now, look, can they do this? And what were they trying to imply this? No. Look, winter is coming. They've been doing all along this marathon. They're trying to get people to realize you can go watch all of the Game of Thrones episodes now. You can watch all of their journeys, relive Bran Stark's journey. I won't spoil it in case you guys haven't watched the show, but the marathon of the entire series from the beginning, only on HBO Max. That's what this is about. They finally sort of have this. Here's Sansa's journey for the North. It's now streaming. The whole point is now you can finally relive and watch all of Westeros on the 10th anniversary of Westeros, of when the show started. You can now watch it all over on HBO Max, is what this message is. Now streaming on HBO Max, the Iron Anniversary Game of Thrones. That's what this is about. Now, remaking Season 8 is impossible in so many reasons, guys. The reality of what I do, there's really 2 questions here. Would I want them to do that? Yes. Do I think they can do that? No. You're not going to get all the cast back. They've all moved on. They've all aged up. They're not going to want to disrespect George R. R. Martin like that. Unless George R. R. Martin wants to come forward and do the Martin cut for his show, maybe. But that seems so unlikely given the fact that he's already working on his prequels and everything else. I don't see why HBO would do that. It's such a sign of disrespect. It's just like everybody's out there saying, yeah, let's redo the sequel trilogy of Star Wars. That one's different because I think you could spin off into just a completely different sequel trilogy that has nothing to do with that one, and potentially say we're on our own timeline and do it that way. I don't know how you would continue Game of Thrones or end it without getting all the cast back. It's just impossible. So I think, yeah, at the end of the day, it's a bummer because HBO, I'm sure if they would, because it's such a big franchise, but I think they're going to be like, let's just hope we get a prequel that's better. But as I've gone through all these chats and these comments and stuff on Twitter, the reality is I really do think this show left such a bad taste in so many people's mouths. And the fact that George R. R. Martin still isn't finishing the books, I think people are sort of upset with the way it all ended, and therefore upset at the IP that is Game of Thrones, which is so crazy. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but Game of Thrones was huge. It was huge television just a couple years ago when it wrapped up. People were every season it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It was probably the last big event show I can think of where people were all getting HBO and staying at home and watching it at 9 o'clock to sort of see how it all went down. And I don't understand how they muffed it up so badly. I mean, every week fans were like, the goodwill that the show had given, fans were just like, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. We know it is. It's going to get better. And there were moments of coolness. There were moments. And I'm just talking season 8. There were so many moments of brilliance and genius throughout the whole show. But I'm talking season 8. It just felt like they were sprinting across to a finish line to get it done as quickly as possible. And it felt like the creators like, hurry up, let's get out of here. We want to go do Star Wars and other stuff that they were supposed to be doing, and then dipped and were like, actually, no, we don't want to do Star Wars. We're going to go do, hey, Netflix, yeah, give us money. Have they made anything on Netflix yet? It's crazy. But yeah, I think overall, this brand does have a stink on it still. And I'll be honest, I'm not as excited to go watch one of the new prequel shows, knowing that they couldn't just hit the landing on the show. And I still stand by the fact that I don't think they needed to rush out the ending. I don't know why. There was so much interesting stuff with the Daenerys at the end and the sort of, without spoiling, choices that they make and what happens. And that could have been a whole season. And instead, it was brushed off in just a couple episodes. And so much of it didn't make any sense why they were rushing to that finish line. And then the epilogue, what happened to Bran, all that Bran, it was so frustrating. It just nothing in this finale hit in a way that you're like, oh, that's what it was all for? And it sucks because it's the pressure of finishing a show like this is rough. I mean, I try to think of other shows. It's hard for a show to really, totally celebrate the end. I'm curious, what do you guys think? What are like the best TV show endings out there? One of my favorites is 6 Feet Under. Brilliant ending. But more often than not, I feel like endings are poor. They're bad. They never deliver. But it's like shows like Seinfeld or whatever. Like you go back and you watch when the Seinfeld finale sucked. It didn't ruin all of Seinfeld because those episodes sort of stood on their own. You know what I mean? They were fun little shows. Like even The Office. There's a whole last season of The Office which sucks. But you're like, it doesn't matter. I still got all these episodes of The Office that I always love to replay. Game of Thrones isn't really a replay value because everything it's building to ends up falling like a house of cards. You're like, oh, well, this is not worth the watch. I'm curious, people who are now binging it, if it's easier, because I guess it's a lot quicker to binge through the show, and then maybe you just realize, oh, this is really cool. The last ending sucked, but still enjoy the ride. That's the best review I can sort of give somebody when they ask, should I watch Game of Thrones? Be like, yeah, there's some amazing stuff. Just be prepared for kind of a limp ending. It's not gonna be as hopeful as you want or as exciting as you want or maybe where you want to go. They definitely rushed the ending, but aside from that, there's some great twists and turns and fun moments throughout the way. That I'm curious your take on this. Do you guys think do you agree with me? It's impossible to remake season 8 and these fans are just going crazy, or do you think no, F it, they should figure out a way? Do you think the cast would do it without George R. R. Martin involved? Would George R. R. Martin just take the check? Is any of that real? And secondly, what do you think of the brand in itself, Game of Thrones? Do you think it still is valuable, or do you feel like it has a bad taste in your mouth and a stink where you're like, yeah, I was really into that, and now no longer. I don't really care anymore. Tell me your thoughts down below. Make sure to join us tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our live show. We're going to talk about this and so much more. Stay tuned. One last thing to sort of leave you with, the fact that if you go check out the trailer to the season 8, which they put together out there, it's pretty amazing because the fan division couldn't be clearer. if you go check it out, yeah, before we lose dislikes, you can tell here 8,000 downvotes, 3.2 upvotes. People are not happy, even though this is a well-edited trailer to sort of recap season 8 to sort of try to like sell it as it's good. Yeah, in a preview it seems cool, but people are not having it. Every single plotline was abandoned. Prince was who was promised. John's identity, the Prince. I mean, yep. If you liked anything about the show, season 8 destroys it all. Who the F at HBO thought it was a good idea to post this? Out here rubbing salt in our wounds. Like it's really the disappointment this season is impressively hilarious when you look back at it. Crazy how they ruined it. It's like I've never seen one where the fans all agreed. Like sure, I'm sure there's fans of mine and everybody who were like, no, come on, Andy. There were parts that were good, but pretty large majority of people will go to bat and say no, season 8 sucked. So to go, I don't know how they lost such goodwill, rushed through and ruined everything they had been building. It's because they lost George R. R. Martin's sort of tomes, started going their own path, and then sort of knew where it was ending, and then sort of rushed to get there is what I think ended up happening. And they lost focus of all the stuff previously that they'd been doing such a good job of adapting. That's the sad reality of what happened. So what do you guys think? Can Game of Thrones come back on HBO Max in some form or another? Tell me what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos here on Popcorn Planet, and make sure to join us tonight live, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.